research, approximately a third of them are bullied specifically because of their allergies. A team of young adults from across Canada will share their stories this week as part of Bullying Awareness and Prevention Week, including Bailey Francis, a grade 12 student at Sacred Heart School of Halifax. She's allergic to peanuts, tree nuts, and chickpeas. And for much of her young life, her parents advocated on her behalf about her allergies to try to educate people about the dangers of anaphylaxis. Sometimes their efforts worked, and sometimes not. Hi, welcome to Main Street.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How severe are your allergies?
My allergies are very severe. They are anaphylactic, and I carry an auto-injector with me at all times.
And so is your danger primarily from ingesting one of your allergens?
My danger for anaphylaxis is only if I ingest one of my allergens. However, I find like if I smell or am around one of my allergens, it throws me off a bit. I feel kind of nauseated, and that could even be a mental thing. And if it's on my skin, I do tend to present with some kind of rash, but I can only go into anaphylactic shock if I ingest my allergens.
And have you gone into anaphylactic shock?
I have. I had a reaction when I was 13 in grade 8.
Tell me what happened.
We had some people visiting from another country, and they brought food with them, and I asked them if there was anything I was allergic to in the food, and they told me there wasn't, but there was some kind of miscommunication, and I'm pretty sure there was macadamia nuts in one of the desserts that they brought, and unfortunately that sent me into a full-blown allergic reaction. My mom administered my auto-injector, and I was in the hospital, and they put me on Benadryl and steroids, and it was a very unfortunate experience that I would like to avoid in the future.
For people who've never seen or experienced such a thing, can you describe what happens to you?
What happened to me was my lips and tongue were swollen, like visibly swollen, and my throat began to close over. I received epinephrine before I was completely sealed off, so luckily there was never a point where I wasn't breathing. However, it was a very terrifying experience, and I'm still very anxious about it, and it definitely led to some anxiety problems about connected with my allergies, and it was very almost awakening. Like, I didn't really understand until it happened, and now it's something that I think everyone should be educated about. I feel very strongly about it now.
And what must that have been like for your parents?
My parents, I don't really remember because I was on a lot of medication through the whole process, but it was a very terrifying experience for my parents. I have like a brief memory of hearing my father on the phone with 911 trying to explain to them what happened. I imagine they were equally as scared as I was in that situation. However, I can't clearly remember what they were saying or doing at the time.
Now tell me about a time that you were bullied and that you feel that that was related to your food allergies.
Well, there's only been a few times that I feel I've been bullied specifically for my allergies. One time I was actually at a volleyball tournament, and the club whose tournament I was at, they were selling peanut butter cookies in their canteen, and I went in the gym, and I knew there was something. I was like, I can smell something, this is not okay. So my mom went over to the canteen because she didn't want me to go in case there was something there, trying to keep me further away from it. So she went over, and they were selling these peanut butter cookies, and my mom politely asked them, like, can you please stop selling these, and my daughter's allergic. And they were selling other things. This was not their entire profit, but they told her no because they were bringing in good money for their volleyball club, that they wanted to keep selling these cookies. And my mom tried to explain to them, like, her allergies are severe, like they could put her in a hospital, they could potentially kill her. But this woman who she was talking to was too headstrong about continuing to sell these cookies, which is kind of unfortunate because we pay to play in other teams' tournaments anyway. So I pretty much paid to go to a tournament, and then they were compromising my health at the tournament, which I think is inappropriate.
What about other kids you know, other students? How are they with your allergies?
Other students, well, I go to Sacred Heart, which is a fairly small school, so I know almost everyone at my school, so it's pretty easy to keep it contained at school. The only incident I've ever had at school was I was one time accused of making up my allergies and that I was faking the entire thing, which is definitely not the case, and I don't know why someone would ever make up that they had anaphylactic allergies, or why someone else would think that someone would make up an allergy, and that was a very strange situation for me. I actually had a friend like completely stand up for me and was like, "Are you crazy? Like, she's not gonna do that." But that's the only incident I've ever had at school with food allergy and bullying, which I'm quite thankful it has never been anything further.
Have you heard from other kids who have had worse experiences?
I know people who have definitely had worse experience than I have. I've heard stories of people being taunted with their allergens, which is just completely unsafe.
Like physically?
That's physically compromising someone else's health. And I honestly believe that people just don't understand how severe it is. I don't think any grade school kid would honestly want to put someone's life at risk like that. I just don't think people understand that that's what they're doing.
Why do you think that is? I mean, we've been talking about these kinds of allergies for 25, 30 years.
I think sometimes people get mixed up between like seasonal allergies that can just be kind of taken care of with like a pill, and then life-threatening allergies, which you need like a needle to like even like calm down. And I think there's probably some mix up with that, and there are different kinds of allergies, and people don't always see that.
How does it feel for you if you're in a situation where you can't avoid one of your allergens? What does that feel like?
I am a very anxious person around my allergens, especially after my reaction in grade 8. So I'd say when I'm around them, I get very shaky. I get almost very emotional and get really, really nervous. And you can tell because I'm a pretty like bubbly person, but like my whole personality kind of just declines. And people can tell almost right away when something's wrong. And it's not a good feeling. I feel very unsafe. I try and think of ways to get out of the situation. It's hard. It's one of the more difficult obstacles in my life.
Your school's nut-free, but it's not chickpea-free. What do they do to accommodate you on that front?
Because it is such a small school, my class has 26 people in it who all know me quite well and all know that I would rather them not bring hummus or chickpeas to school. And I'm friends with, I'd say, everyone in my grade, so they're all very accommodating to me and know that, oh, like, Bailey's in my class, I can't bring that to school. As far as other grades, I do have a lot of friends in other grades who know about my allergies, so if someone is seen eating, like, hummus, there are a lot of people in the school who'll be like, oh, like, you should wash your hands just in case, like, you're in contact with her later. So my school has actually done a great job at keeping me safe with my allergies.
Your food allergy, so many other food allergies are a matter of life and death. So what do you want people who rail against peanut-free policies at schools and other places to know?
I guess for people who don't think being peanut-free is necessary, I think they should try and put themselves in someone else's shoes to see how terrifying it really can be. I know Anaphylaxis Canada does with high schools. Sometimes they do an adopt an allergy challenge for for a day or a week or like a span of time. They give people without allergies, like, this is what you're allergic to for this amount of time, you can't eat it. So people have to start reading labels and they realize how prominent these foods actually are. And so if your allergy was peanuts, then you start reading, you know how many things say traces of peanuts on them? You can't have any of that. And I think that really helps, and people start to understand how difficult it can be to actually eat. Or when you go to restaurants, having to ask and be like, this is what I'm allergic to. It cannot come in contact with my food. And so I've heard stories about people who have taken that challenge for a week or a few days, and they seem to get a better understanding for how hard it is to deal with allergies on a daily basis.
What advice do you have for kids or others who are dealing with allergy bullying?
For others who are dealing with allergy bullying, I really just think you need to self-advocate. I find I sometimes don't like to talk about my allergies or my anxiety with my allergies because I almost feel as if it's annoying to other people, but it really is a life-threatening condition, and I've found that when I do speak out and say, like, this really bothers me, if you could not bring it to school or if you could not eat it around me, people really do understand that, and especially like your friends or your closer friends, they really will consider your feelings about that and stop bringing it to school or stop eating it around you. I think if you're willing to speak out about how you're feeling, people are more willing to accommodate.
Does it kind of blow your mind that some people aren't willing to accommodate?
That subject is very controversial in my mind because I understand that it can be difficult if you're not in my situation to realize like how I'm feeling or how much this really does affect me. But at the same time, like I think that you would probably accommodate for other illnesses, so why won't you accommodate for this?
Bailey Francis, thanks for speaking with us.
Hey, thank you for having me.
That's Bailey Francis. She's in grade 12 at Sacred Heart School. She lives in Cole Harbour. It is Bullying Awareness and Prevention Week, and if you or a young person you know is struggling with allergy bullying or any other kind of bullying, a way to start getting help with that is through the Kids Help Phone, and here's the toll-free number, 1-800-668-6868. That's the Kids Help Phone, 1-800-668-6868.